Studying English has so many steps to it, and it's not an easy thing. It's a journey that everyone who wants to study English, or hey, even any other language, that you take upon yourself, hopefully knowing that, hey, this is going to be a long journey.
It's not magic.
It's not magic.
Yeah.
There's no magic. I mean, even magic is not magic. Magic is illusion. There is no illusion in studying, working hard, putting in the time and effort to learn a language. Throughout all of these steps that you're going to go through learning language in Japan, you know, there's a lot of things in the school system. There's a lot of memorization. There's a lot of vocab learning. There's a lot of grammar learning. And there's one thing that's kind of missing, kind of pushed off to the side, where it's like, maybe we should focus on this, guys. Pronunciation.
Always pushed to the side until the very last minute.
Now, this one is kind of like a tricky topic.
Yeah.
And I say that because even in the past episodes that me and Adam had and our talks we've had, we personally feel that pronunciation shouldn't be a huge wall to stop you learning or speaking English that you think it is. It is a wall, but it's not as thick as you think it is.
It's a wall that you can walk through because it's there, but it isn't.
We're getting deep, everyone.
Yeah. It's an invisible wall. It's a barrier that is barrier free, kind of.
I mean, for those people who feel that it's not such a big deal, then they can walk in and out past that wall.
Exactly,
with no problem. But if there's some people who feel like this is really important, I need to have a good pronunciation of English to speak and communicate in English, then that wall is going to get thicker or higher and more difficult to overcome. But everyone, I'm here to tell you, don't worry. No matter what side you're on, there is kind of a way to figure out a way to make it a little bit easier. All right. To make that wall, turn that wall into like a shoji door where you can just like
burst through.
You can burst through. Maybe get a little peek of what the other side's like. So I think it really comes down to goals and purpose of learning English.
Yeah. Even the goals and purpose of improving your pronunciation. Because learning English is like something that is the main thing. Learning English, learning how to speak, learning how to communicate. And then the pronunciation, I feel, is like the refining part, the migaku part, the part where you're making your part, you know, shiny and smooth.
True. Yeah. And so, exactly. So I think like that's one thing that a lot of people feel. I from my personal experience, you know, being in Japan for over 16 years and being in the language industry and talking with people who are trying to study English and who are speaking and at multiple levels, different levels, that there are a few people who at the beginner level will kind of stop themselves because they feel like, oh, I'm saying it wrong. And those are the people who take longer, that journey to communicate and to be able to speak, even have a simple conversation. The journey gets longer to get there because of this wall of pronunciation.
Right, exactly.
Now, there's a few people who have asked me in the past, like, oh, what was a difficult thing to say in Japanese? When you were studying Japanese, did you find any words, things that were difficult? Example was the rariruredo.
Okay.
All right. Having that R sound is really different from the North American English R. You know, we would say what?
Rarirurero.
Rarirurero. Like we're like cheerleaders. Rah, rah,
Zumba.
Rah, rah, row.
Row your boat.
And I never thought that was difficult. Maybe, you know, there's a little background of me studying Spanish, and there's a lot of similar R sounds with that to the Japanese sound. So I was like, you know, personally, I was okay. And I didn't feel like there was much of a wall for me to speak or have a all right pronunciation to my Japanese.
Oh, I see. I think for me, it was pronouncing the English words or the Western katakana words in Japanese with those rarirureros in it. Because my brain is fighting the feeling, the urge to say it in English, for example.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that was a hard thing for me I still haven't mastered that part.
Right. But it's something that doesn't stop you from
Right.
saying it if you have
Oh
to.
yeah, for sure. And if I make a
Right.
mistake and the person on the receiving end, which would probably be a Japanese person, if they didn't understand, then it wouldn't stop me from having that conversation. It wouldn't make me feel like underconfident. It would.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Unconfident.
I think might be a new
Underconfident.
one.
Because there's overconfidence, so I can't be underconfident.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
Right?
Maybe just not so commonly
Not,
used. But
yeah,
okay,
maybe.
so
Yeah. Anyway.
question.
Yeah.
Is there a time when you were studying Japanese and speaking that you
Uh-huh.
felt like the pronunciation was tough or you weren't able to communicate because you had bad pronunciation?
Maybe again going with some of the things that are in a different language that I was trying to communicate.
Okay, yeah.
Where the Japanese person like it's a simple one that everyone gets is like hamburger, right?
Oh yeah.
Hamburger, right? But in
Right.
English, it's hamburger,
Right.
right? So
Not ha.
not ha,
Ha.
not ha, it's ha, and it's not han, it's ham. So
Ooh.
when I'm saying hamburger, my mouth wants to go hamburger. And that's
Okay.
so if I'm ordering a hamburger and I say hamburger, they say,
Mm.
you mean hamburger? That kind of thing. Like
Okay.
a lot of the
Oh.
native foreign Western words I had trouble with.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Ooh. But
sometimes, yeah,
but you were still able, I feel like the staff would still be able to kind of understand. Oh yeah.
sometimes it was
Because
like
I've
really bad and I had to point at what I wanted or
because like I had the experience
yeah.
of not knowing how to say this word with in katakana
Okay.
because
Oh
the word
yeah.
was eclair. All
Uh-huh.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, there is an E sound in Japanese.
Yeah.
So I go to the staff and I'm like, Eclair, hitotsu onegaishimasu. And they're like, すいません, もう一回です. And I'm like, oh man, I knew it right away because this was a few years into my studying
Yeah.
Japanese, and I'm like, okay, I must be saying it like a little bit differently. Maybe there's a no bus somewhere. Maybe there's a chichatsu somewhere. So I was saying it all these different ways, and then I just went over and I was like, this one, because it was like behind a glass case, separate from where the cash register or where I was ordering was.
Yeah.
So I pointed there like, eclair desu ne. I'm like, it's It's not in English when we say eclair, we say eclair.
Yeah.
It's not eclair. What? Okay.
Yeah.
We could go deep and technically. It's not an English word. It's not an English, US based
word.
food item.
Yeah.
So okay. And it's spelled with an E, and that's why it goes to I believe. So those are the things that kind of trip me up when it comes to those borrowed words or those words from Western countries using in Japan as katakana words. But still, it's not the pronunciation so much. And so this is like these a few stories, everyone. I want to explain to everyone. Don't let the pronunciation stop you from speaking. Don't let it scare you from continuing your
journey,
speaking lessons,
right.
Or keep you from trying out that English cafe down the street that opened up, or any of those things, because you just have to go out and you have to try it. And that's maybe the biggest way to improve pronunciation if you like to.
Right.
You just have to speak.
Exactly.
How do you get better at English? Speak. How do you get pronunciation? Most likely speaking. And maybe there's a little more of an effort on thinking about how you're moving your tongue, your mouth muscles, and your lips to have maybe more of a similar sound to a native English speaker.
Right. I think a lot of the listeners, a lot of the people viewing is like, okay, if I speak and I keep speaking, but if I say it the wrong way the whole time, I'm never going to get better. Right, MJ? Right, Adam?
Yeah.
Like, of course, that's true. But just what MJ said, looking at the native speaker's mouth as they're speaking, or even just watching a video of someone speaking and saying those words will help you understand the way the mouth moves and the way the tongue's supposed to move, is different, and then trying to move your mouth as well. Because one of the things that I heard while I was teaching, and it's very true, is that the way the Japanese person speaks compared to the way the native English person speaks, the mouth muscles are trained differently.
Yeah.
Right? So your mouth and your tongue aren't going to move in the same way right out as you're speaking. You have to train those muscles, put on the dumbbells on your chin, and start doing chin-ups.
Yeah,
and working out those muscles in your mouth and your jaw. Very few times I've heard people saying after like an English class or an English lesson, oh, my mouth is so sore, I spoke so much English. And that's true, because you're using muscles that you've never used before. So that's one thing, speaking and moving those muscles in your mouth and your tongue, and getting used to having your mouth move in a different way than when you are speaking in Japanese.
And one more thing I want to add is that the goal, your purpose of English will really determine on how much effort you should put into correcting your pronunciation.
Right.
If you're someone who just needs to use it for daily conversation to speak, if you're able to communicate and the person understands you, no problem.
Right.
Don't worry about that pronunciation wall. But say, example, you're someone who is a singer and you want to sing this English song with good pronunciation. Then you better be putting in some more effort, more time to focus in on those sounds and practice getting those sounds out correctly.
Right.
Because of the goals are different. So think about that, everyone. If you're someone who thinks pronunciation is a thing you need to work on, double back. Look back at the big picture now. Be like, am I still able to communicate? What's my goal for English?
Right.
Is pronunciation a very high priority, or maybe it's not? Maybe I just need more experience speaking. Maybe I need more confidence to be able to go out and speak.
Right. Exactly.
So this is a good one, a deep one. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this, and be on the lookout, because possibly in the near future, everyone, I'm working on something that can help those who want to improve their pronunciation, who want to focus on it, who want to put in the extra time and effort to improve. Because even though in the past, we've said it's not that important, still for some people, it can be important.
Right,
it can be something that they can improve on. So, hey, we're here to help, and we want to help those people who want to improve. So be on the lookout, mjnadishow.com on our website and stuff. Got some stuff there. That's it for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments, what do you think? What is your goal with pronunciation? Like and subscribe.
But for now, that's it. We'll see you on the next step.